Todd. 3/23/23. Welcome to the Bro Pod, Thursday evening. Todd's, well, you can see it if you're watching on YouTube. We're trying again for the first time to record the video of the show, put it up on the tube of you, and, cha-ching, make that cheddar box.
Monetize.
Son.
It's scary because your face is gigantic.
Make that cheddar. That's because my camera is like 9 inches from my face.
Well, why don't you move your face back?
No, because I have to record my audio
with a
with a
microphone. You fucking asshole.
This is what we do. People want to see the real deal. I feel like I dropped an onion on my shirt.
An onion on your shirt?
I dropped that onion. You want some onions on that tostada? Yes, I do.
That's
what I have.
Have you seen that Baltimore video?
No.
Where
Hang on. Time out. Let's do an early pause. Let's digest what you just said. Have you seen that Baltimore video? There's 35 billion videos out there on YouTube.
No. This
What do you mean, have I
one's
seen the
relatively
Baltimore
famous. It has these Baltimore guys pronouncing Aaron earned an iron earn. And they just go, earn. It's pretty awesome. And he's like,
no,
the one guy says
video.
it, and he's like, what the fuck? He's like, shit, we talk like that? And the other guys are like, yeah, Aaron, earn.
So they were rewatching themselves and they couldn't believe it?
Well, no, they're all like, someone posted like, hey, if you're from Baltimore, read this sentence. And they're like, earn. And he's like, the fuck, we talk like that? He's like,
that's pretty good.
God damn. Then he says it slowly. He's like, Aaron earned an iron earn. And the guy's like, yeah, earn. Pretty good.
Earn. It's like 3/23/23. Yeah. Anyway.
The rest of them are like, sounds fine to me. He's like, God damn, what the fuck? It's a great video. If you look up Baltimore talk on like
Baltimore
Instagram, see it.
Earn on Instagram.
Yes, that's where I'm sure it's on the Tick and the Talk as well, but I've seen it on the Gram.
Not a member of the Tick or the Talk. No need. Too old.
No, you're not. It's very entertaining. There's lots of old people.
Well, obviously, if you're on it, I'm not too old.
True. Because you're just a little bit older than me.
Who's the fogue in this relationship? Boop, boop, boop. Anyway, Todd.
Yes.
I know that you love talking about
Speaking
what you did
old fogies.
when you were away. So
Jesus.
last week, you were on a trip. I was on a trip this week, so don't worry. I'll speak as well.
No one gives a shit about either trip. That's my point.
Yeah, they do.
No, they don't.
Plus, in mine, it will lead to another topic of conversation.
Oh. Boom.
There's actually a topic on the list. By the way, just to be fully transparent to everyone, we've talked about how we have a Google Doc that we share where we can list topics for the show. The last time we utilized it was January 12th. Today's March 23rd. So we don't do a good job of using it that much. Now, Todd's been globetrotting, so we don't need to because we're naturals. But this one I thought was pretty solid. So we'll see when we get there. Anyway, tell us where you were, what you did. Proud sponsor tonight, DMD, of course. Todd's drinking it to prevent himself from being hydrated.
Southern California for work.
Now, when you travel to SoCal, Todd, where are you flying into?
Well, in this case, I flew into Santa Barbara, but I flew out of LAX. Not Baltimore LAX, but LAX.
Why'd you fly to LAX?
Well, my company is based in the Santa Barbara area, and our meetings were there, but we did some work in LAX on the last day. So I just flew out of there. Plus, I can get a direct flight from LAX to BWI. But you can't get a direct flight from BWI to
Santa Barbara to anywhere. Correct.
I mean, you can from Denver. I flew to on the way there. I flew to Denver.
That is true.
Denver to Santa Barbara.
Yeah,
Santa Barbara Airport is like 4 gates.
Maybe Todd texted me 10 days ago or whatever. Hey, I'm in Denver. I'm like, and what year is this? I'm not going to go to the airport and meet you. Share a drink. Record a pod. We could have recorded a pod in DIA. Did stop and get any snacks in DIA? Hit up any of the local haunts?
I I think I told you I came in on the ass end of one terminal and had to run to the middle of another terminal, so I had limited eating
So no.
time. I feel like I maybe got a snack, but not like a full meal or anything.
You Hudson News the bitch.
Something like that, yeah.
That's okay.
I've heard there's good
Also,
food there.
There is good food there. Also, that's not a true running through the airport story.
Well,
If you had time
no,
to stop at Hudson to get
no. I had like an hour-ish. I think the official layover was like 45 minutes, but my first flight was early, so it was closer to an hour. I wasn't running, but I took like 27 moving sidewalks, and I was just
there's a lot.
I wasn't really worried about it. It was just like I didn't have any like just sitting around doing nothing time, or not much.
But you were flying Southwest, right?
No.
Oh. Okay.
Untied.
Never mind.
Flying untied.
I don't think that's how it's spelled, but United is more accurate. But
United.
I was gonna say, if you were flying Southwest, you would have to hustle because you ain't got a seat, bitch. You got to get in there and get the best seat you can. No assigned seating to Southwest.
I had an assigned seat.
So nothing exciting with the work trip other than work stuff?
No, it rained most of the time in Southern California. It was
been raining all winter.
It was
California.
near the time that you were there skiing. Oops, sorry. And so we did like a beach cleanup one day, and it was actually nice that day, so that was nice. But other than that, no.
So your team building was to clean up garbage on the beach?
That was one of our team building. I mean, the whole thing was a team building thing. That was part of it. That was like a service component.
Ropes course, bicycle ride. Todd, the people want to know. All right, fine. I want to know. What was the team building? Tell me it was something fun.
No, I mean, it wasn't.
No, it was terrible.
It was more like setting goals and doing stuff like that.
Oh, like annual meetings.
We did some icebreakers, 2 truths and a lie.
Oh yeah.
We did a drawing thing.
Hang on, we talked about the two. We talked about the 2 truths and a lie last
2 truths and a lie. Did we?
Because you were debating. Yeah, we talked about which ones you should do.
Yeah,
so
I did. I studied theology at Emory University for a month.
You mentioned that.
I was the lead in my high school production of whatever the one you were in, and my understudy went on to perform on Broadway.
South Pacific?
Yes, I was the lead in South Pacific. I remember. I wrote them down. And then the third one was what was the third one? Hold on, let me see.
Whatever it was, it doesn't even matter. I would have immediately called, like, obviously I know you very well, but anyone that knows you'd be like, bullshit. You were in a production in high school? No.
And the last one was I spent my 21st birthday at an underground bomb shelter in St. Petersburg, Russia.
Also true. You've talked about that on the pod.
Obviously.
Mm.
Apparently my second one was too detailed. They're like, there's too much detail in that one. I was like, it's funny. I read these.
That's why they got
I read these to my wife, and she's like, is that true? I was like, it's fucking, of course you know it's not true, you idiot.
Wait, she thought the South Pacific thing was true?
Yeah, she's like, is that true? It's like, no.
For the few that are listening and don't know this, Todd and his wife went to the same high school, in the same grade, dating.
Well, the thing is, I stole
year.
From your life. Like, you weren't the lead in South Pacific, and it wasn't your understudy, but Carter performed on Broadway, right? And he was the lead in South Pacific.
Carter's brother, Jason. Yes.
Is that his name?
His younger brother, Jason. Yeah. Jason Shuffler.
I knew one of the Shufflers performed on Broadway. So
technically that's true.
Took a truth and made it into a lie for myself.
You blended it together.
I blended into the fabrication.
I didn't think about that, but you're kidding that Anne thought she wasn't sure if that was true or not.
I was just reading it too.
Was she hammered?
I don't think she was really paying attention, but she's like, is that true? I was like, no, it's not.
Oh my God. That's hilarious.
I also noticed that I don't know if you can see this on camera, but I have a pen that says "Big Boys
Big
Bail
boy bail
Bonds,"
bonds.
and I don't know where the fuck this came from, but it's interesting.
If you figure out where that came from, that sounds like a story you also need to tell in the pod.
Yeah,
You have a
I mean,
bail
it's
bonds.
from Baltimore. I just don't know how I came into possession of this pen. I am not. No one in my family has been to a bail bondsman that I know of.
Is there a big issue at your former employer where you maybe had a coworker that needed the services of a bail
I don't
bondsman
think so.
or bail bondswoman?
I literally have no idea where this came from.
Hmm.
They
Big
have a Twitter
boys.
account. You can
To
follow them on Twitter
BBBB.com.
at Big Boys with a Z Bail. Big Boys Bail.
Oh, we saw the pen, Todd. We could see it loud and clear.
Well,
That's the
it's
good news.
mirrored, so I didn't know if you could read it.
Oh, yeah, I can read it.
Big. Wait. No, it's
Now
upside
it's
down.
backwards. Upside down and backwards. Attaboy. Come on, big boy. Here we go. Bonds,
Big
bail.
Boys,
Big boys, bail bonds.
Barry
like
Bonds, Big Boy Bails.
I don't have any interesting pens in here. Here's my pen. It's
Boring.
a maze. It's got a little ball in there. You can't see.
Big balls in your pen. All right, can we stop talking about pen? Tell me about your trip that I don't care about.
Thanks. I was in Dallas, Texas. That's what I said. That's what I said to my wife before I left. I said, when I get back, I'll tell you who shot JR.
She's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
She didn't really get it, I don't think. But no, I flew down.
That was my point.
I know. Flew down Monday night.
Anyone who recognizes that theme song that I was just humming is too old.
Is at least my age and probably closer to your age. And maybe not
over 35.
Has to be. Should be over 40. But yeah, no, I flew down Monday night, flew back early Wednesday morning. I was just there for Tuesday for the day for work. I will tell you though, I flew into Dallas Love Field, not DFW. There are two airports in Dallas because Southwest flies into Love Field. Yeah. Love Field's the smaller of the two. I didn't see him. I doubt he flies commercial late night.
Late night commercial flights with Kyrie Irving.
You done? Anyway,
I'm done. Yeah.
So I got in, I landed, my flight was a little delayed on the way out, and I landed a little after midnight in Dallas, Love Field. And I could not for the life of me get an Uber to my hotel. My hotel was like...
Wait. Why not?
I don't know.
Are you calling them on a cellular phone or using the application or how?
I was using the application. I had Uber and Lyft. If this story seems familiar,
competing against each other
in Tahoe, then yes, it's the same situation. I could not get one. I couldn't find anybody, and I was out there with a bunch of other people. They're getting picked up by presumably Ubers or Lyfts. It was like 12:15.
Do you have a low rating? What's your rider rating?
I don't know that I have a rating at all. I have no idea.
I'm sure you do. Oof, sorry.
I'm sure it's good. I always tip because 9 times out of 10 I'm using Uber for business purposes.
Uber.
I'm expensing it. Are you looking up my rider rating? Is that what's happening?
I'm looking up my rider rating.
Oh.
4.92
Let's see what
stars.
It is. 4.92. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Here's how infrequently I use
those. Motherfucker gave me less than 5 stars, assholes.
Oh, Jesus. Here's how infrequently I use those rideshare apps. I didn't even know a rider rating existed. I knew the driver ratings existed, obviously, but didn't know about the rider rating.
Cheap ass. They don't want to pick you up if you're not going to tip them.
Now you got me thinking. Maybe that's why a couple of times in my life, it's like I've had a ride and then it went away. But anyway, long story short, I finally got somebody, super nice kid, young guy, just moved there from California to Dallas, and this is his hustle. Lives with his sisters. It was $70. It was about a 25-minute ride, which seemed very, very high to me. And again, it shouldn't be because of what they call them surge pricing. It was $12.15 at night on a Monday. Like, fuck off.
Probably not surging.
More to that end, when I flew back Wednesday morning, granted it was like 5:30 a.m., I got an Uber. It was $27. From the hotel back to the airport was $27. From the airport to the hotel was $69. Can anyone explain this to me? Can you explain this to me since you're the only one that can answer this currently? Did you say no? No, I'm not going to say it again. Why was it so much
70
more
on the way there
expensive?
and 69 on the way back? That sounds about the
No.
same.
God damn it. 69 on the way there. It was like 27 on the way back.
Oh, 27.
Yeah. It was less than half price.
Surge. I have no idea. That's weird.
But surge at that hour? Again, on a Friday night, a Saturday night? Maybe. Maybe. If anyone out there knows, vbropodnetwork@gmail.com.
They don't.
vbropodnetwork@gmail.com. What do you mean they don't? Somebody fucking knows. Anybody out there ever driven for Uber or Lyft?
Uber.
Let us know.
See.
What are you doing? You looking it up? What's happening here?
Yeah, I'm looking up why the Uber prices are different.
Okay.
When demand increases, Uber uses variable costs to encourage more drivers to get on the road and help deal with the number of rider requests.
No shit. Demand was not high there right then. That's my point. I don't understand why demand was so high at 12:15 at night from the airport to a hotel in the suburbs.
It basically says the number one reason the prices for all rideshare rise is lack of drivers. So maybe there's just not many people driving at that time, so they can.
Because I stood out there for fucking 25
I
minutes.
didn't think
that could have been
drivers
true.
could really set the price. I thought that was more the apps did that. I thought that was the whole point, that you didn't like get screwed. Because it's typically cheaper than a cab, but that 70 and 27 is a pretty big swing. So
And by the way, I saw a couple cabs waiting, but they were all like standing outside smoking, and they looked like they were literally doing a drug deal as I was watching them. So I was like, I'm not taking that cab.
probably.
I'll go with Uber. And again, I'm glad I did. Super nice kid. I think his name was Matthew. Shout out Matthew. If you're listening, I did not tell him about the podcast. I should have.
Why not?
I just wasn't thinking about it. I was too busy talking to him. We had a nice conversation.
Wait, do you typically chat up your Uber drivers?
It depends. If I can tell they're chatty, then sure, I'll chat them up. The guy that picked me up at 5:45 a.m. and took me back to the airport, we were talking the whole time too.
About what? You say
So
you're in Texas, so meat, guns.
No, he was neither one of
Hatred.
these guys. Again, the one guy was from California. This other guy was
Hey,
not of
bro,
this
how
land.
you like Dallas, dude?
No,
not that California.
you couldn't be further off in anything and everything you're saying. But the second guy was definitely not originally of this land. He spoke a language that I couldn't, or a dialect I couldn't necessarily pinpoint. But he said his
Wait,
girlfriend.
a dialect of English?
He had an accent that I couldn't pinpoint
Okay.
where he's from.
So not
His
a
girlfriend's
dialect.
moving here in May, and he's doing this as a side hustle. His main job doesn't pay enough, but he's trying to save up money because girls are expensive. His words, not mine. So I don't know if that means like he's helping bring her over from somewhere in Europe, perhaps,
Maybe she has exotic or expensive tastes.
and or that's a possibility too.
Did he say girls are
Yeah.
expensive, or was it more offensive than that?
No, he said girls are expensive.
Okay. I didn't know if he had
And he's
even more derogatory terminology.
no, there wasn't a local terminology that he used, but from his homeland. But then we were pretty close to the airport, and a fish truck like blew past us and ran a red light. And then like 2 lights later, we got right behind the fish
beep,
truck.
beep, beep.
Yeah.
A fish truck with just like a refrigerated truck with fish in it? What do you mean?
On the back, it was like, Harlow's fish delivery or whatever. Not a truck in the shape of a fish or anything.
No,
but
I figured that, but
a big box truck delivering fish.
I'm going to look up Google Maps again. I'm pretty sure Dallas is not near a body of water, correct? It's far enough away that at least the fish still needs to be delivered.
And so we pulled up next to them at a light where we were turning into the airport. And so my driver, whose name I forget his name, but he was like, so when they say chicken or fish when you sit down for your meal at the airport, definitely say the chicken. Which I didn't really get, and I was like, it's fucking 6 a.m. I'm not getting chicken or fish. But who cares if the guy speeds to deliver it? You know, it was just a weird.
To Galveston is a 4.5-hour drive. That seems like the most direct ocean water. I mean, there are lakes, but I don't know if they're man-made.
Yeah, Houston is close to the Gulf, but Dallas is not. Dallas is several hours north of Houston. So, anyway, so yeah, I had some really good, and then I also had one other.
Did you order the fish on the plane, or just go with the?
I did not. That was the other joke I was going to make. I was going to say whatever the guy's name was. Like, I haven't been even offered food other than a snack mix in about a decade. So I don't know when you last flew, bro. But but then I thought
that a joke.
I do. At 6 a.m. everything's a joke. But then I thought to myself, but this guy has the high class girlfriend, so she probably tells him that whenever she travels
on the plane. Well, a lot of
she gets the option.
If you're not flying Southwest, you can get like
in first class
bundle or whatever.
Oh, the snack box! I love the snack box. They're really expensive, but I'm a fan. I'm a big fan.
What do you have a favorite, like the Mediterranean box or the?
Yes, that's exactly it. The Mediterranean box.
Usually comes with
Delta.
Like
I got
nuts and cheese and crackers and a little salami.
Oh, I'm a charcuterie fucking baller. Don't fuck with me in charcuterie, son. I'll tear that shit up. Anyway,
I like that one too.
Yeah, I figured the fact that you just rattled off the contents tells me that you're probably
usually comes a little piece of chocolate and or a cookie. It's a nice little
It's a mini meal.
About $12.
It's a mini meal. 12 to 14 is what I was thinking. Yeah, so we'll go with that.
So
and if you can expense that bitch,
I mostly fly on United, and on United
United.
United. You have to download the app. They make sure to say this out at the gate, and then you can purchase things on the plane contactless. Like they basically just have your card stored. I didn't know like if Delta does the same thing where they won't take a card on the plane.
They do.
They do take a card, or they don't.
They do have that same
policy.
Well, yeah,
we've gone contactless.
Why not? It's 2023.
It's easier for the flight attendants. They're just like
much easier.
We're not dealing with this shit. Your seat 23A done.
They got out of the serving game to become flight attendants. They don't want to do that shit anymore. True story. True story. Anyway, this brings us to our first topic tonight.
What story you're talking about, but
this brings it because you're not paying attention because you never do. This brings us to our first.
I understand what you said. I don't. It's not a story.
Gotcha. I was doing the real world thing.
Oh, true story.
There you go, John. Season 2, LA.
Did we determine that he's doing anything or not? Producing.
He's a low-level country star.
So
still making music.
A country performer.
A country performer.
Not a star.
Low level. Sure.
I mean, he probably gets a hit from just being on Real World. I assume that's most of his stardom. I recall him being a decent singer, as far as like
for that type of music, sure.
Country singer.
That's my recollection as well. Yeah.
Do you remember what his last name was?
No. Just put
John Brennan.
John Brennan. John Brennan. Sounds like a New York cop.
He looks about the same, despite the fact that he's 48 years old.
He's an old man. He was a fucking teenager when he started in that show. That shows you how old we are. I mean, that was 30 years ago, I guess. That checks out. Give us the update, Todd. Dead air is not good for the podcast environment.
I'm waiting for you to start your next topic.
I thought you were going to update us on John Brennan.
Oh, he's a Jesus Christ ambassador.
Okay, amen.
He's a country music artist. Quote, I ain't done singing yet. I assume that's a title of an album for him. All his promo says, featuring performer John Brennan of The Real World. He performed at the Grand Ole Opry 15 weeks ago, looks like. It's got a couple pinned posts. Yeah. Still.
I mean, let's be honest. You can't be shitty at
Jesus
performing
freak.
Grand Ole Opry.
Yeah, no, I think he's a competent performer. I just don't know
There you go.
he's like famous or a star might be.
It sounds like he's famous for being on The Real World. He's still hugging to that pretty hard, which you should, man. If that opens doors, why not? Nah, Sam.
He has a post 4 weeks ago. Truck on E, windshield cracked from Christmas temps. Need an oil change and new tires. Dang this Chevy. Wait, there's a song. Things are looking up.
That's that was a post on Twitter.
No, that's a post on Instagram.
That's the most country songwriter post I've ever heard.
At Chevrolet, hashtag singer songwriter life, hashtag I ain't done singing yet.
So he's looking for a new truck. That's basically what he was doing.
Chevrolet responded and said, "Hi, John. This is not what we hope to hear, and we would like to look into this further for you. Please send us a DM with additional information. Our team will be on the lookout for your response."
My man's gonna get a new truck, or at least get a free.
I don't understand. Like he didn't like. It wasn't Chevy's fault that he doesn't have any gas.
Fucked up. Yeah. We'll give you a free tank, and we'll close your window for you. Maybe his window doesn't work. I don't know.
He responded. It said like that comment was signed Holly, and he replied, "Please check your DM box for a message from me as you requested. For the record, to everyone in the world and on this post, I love Chevy trucks, all caps. This is my fourth one, and I won't drive anything else ever." So he's really looking to be a sponsored, whatever the fuck, Chevy truck driver is.
Spokesperson.
Good
for you,
True
JB.
Story.
JB. Anyway, we move back.
So he's at John Brennan. John with no H. Brennan's
BRENNAN.
Yeah. Underscore
3 in a
com.
row.
At John Brennan underscore com.
NNN.
BRE, a bunch of N's and then underscore.com. There's an A in there somewhere. Slap dash in the middle of it.
Underscore.com? Are you complete? No one's going to find it now. No one has any idea what you're talking about.
Just type in John Brennan. You'll find him. Look for Real World John. It'll probably come up.
Type in John Brennan underscore.
I mean, I'm surprised he doesn't sign all his posts to hashtag true story.
He should. Maybe. First, how the fuck do you know he doesn't? Did you go to a show with the Grand Ole Opry?
Actually, 21 hours ago, I guess Ken Jeong did something.
The Ken Jeong?
It said true story. Yeah, on The Masked Singer, because he has a photo of him and said, "Are you mocking me, or is imitation the sincerest form of flattery? Hashtag true story. Hashtag MTV Cowboy." Can we not talk about this anymore?
John has got some heat on him, is what we've discovered on this show tonight. Shout out John Brennan. Big fan.
Just for the record, he has, hold on. Wait,
how many followers? 18,000.
9,900.
Under
10K.
Ooh, that hurts. That hurts bad.
That's a hard look, because considering just
good.
Like stupid shits have like 30,000 followers.
Stupid shits. I agree.
I mean, if Real World were still on TV, I don't know if it is or not, he'd probably have like 120,000 followers.
By the way, it's not on TV. It is streaming, I believe, on.
But you know what I'm saying? Like if it were a current program,
yeah, of course,
have way more than.
Of course.
Under 10K.
100%. Even if they just were re-airing it like consistently, he'd have.
I mean, he does have a blue check mark. I will say, in fairness, like, I think it is. It's just like they're like it's not necessarily a follow they need to have, I guess. Can you mute and not fucking chomp while you're eating?
No. ASMR, baby. People love it. Love it.
What did you want to talk about?
I wanted to talk about and get your thoughts because this is a pet peeve of yours, as you have mentioned on this show. I want to talk about the various, well, that's one of them. But outside of that,
true,
the various types of people that you encounter on a plane. And this came to mind as I was disembarking. What's the term? Getting off the plane. Why can't I think of that word? As I was getting off the plane.
Correct.
Okay, disembarking the plane in Dallas.
Deplaning, I think, is what they usually say.
Sure. I think it was Dallas. Maybe it was Denver. It doesn't matter. There was a guy who was in my row.
Wait, let me guess. Were you jumping down the aisle to like jump in front of 6 people to get in line?
No.
Is that person on the list?
That is on my list.
Hops up and like sprints down the
aisle.
aisle.
Perusing my list before we start talking about this. But no, that's fine. This guy, he'd already taken his time. When he got into the center aisle, he then put his jacket on. I wanted to fucking stab him in the temples. Don't do that shit in front of me, son.
Oh,
if you got a jacket
in this list,
we're deplaning.
Okay.
He's on the aisle. I'm on the window. He finally, when it's our turn, he finally stands up, then puts his jacket on, grabs his bag, walks down. We get to the very end.
Looks around, high fives people.
Close. We get to the very end.
Turns off the air nozzle, hits the light, and is like, I'm going to walk down the aisle now.
None of that. We get to the very end of the plane. You're supposed to make the hard left and get the fuck off. He stops, leans into the cockpit, and says, "Thanks, guys," to the pilots who are sitting there. They, of course, politely turn around and say, "You got it," or whatever.
Say, "Fuck off, get off the plane, you dickhead." And
then he gets off the plane. I almost ran into this guy's ass because I was at a good clip. I'm like, he's going to make the hard left, and we're going to get onto the bridge thing, whatever. A jetway, thank you. He stopped on a dime.
Fellas,
thanks, guys.
Thanks, man.
Guys, appreciate it. Thumbs up. Good flight. We're all alive.
What did you notice? Was he applauding when you landed? Is he a clapper?
No,
or just...
no, he was not a clapper. That's people that are like truly nervous. He clearly was like a regular flyer. Yeah, no, just a total D-bag, hardcore douchebag. Yes, 100%. So that's, and by the way, he said thank you, which I don't do it, but I'm willing to if they speak to me. He said thank you to every flight attendant that we passed as we were moving towards the front of the plane. Too.
Very, very chatty fellow. Every flight attendant, huh?
I mean, the ones that were like already cleaning the seats, they were like on row 4 or 5. We're starting from row 16 or whatever it was.
Wait, so what were you flying? Was this Delta or?
No, this is Southwest.
The flight attendants clean the seats?
Yeah.
They don't have a cleaning crew that hops on and does it?
They eventually have a cleaning crew, but the flight attendants go through and get the big stuff.
Yeah.
Like if there's magazines or whatever. And then I think every 3rd or 4th flight, a cleaning crew will like come in and delouse the plane. Because sometimes they clearly do not, because you open you pull down your tray and there's fucking crumbs or some kid's toy and saliva. So it's definitely not after every flight. That I'm certain of. So that's one. I have a list here, but that's one of the people that I cannot stand. Number one. And this is
so are we calling him the put on the jacket guy or the?
I call him the thanks.
Say goodbye to
the thanks
for
to
the memories.
Guy.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, thanks for the memories. That's exactly right. Fucking prick. All right, next one that I hate. And feel free to jump in. I know you're looking at the list. If you think of one that's not on this list,
I'm sure maybe I will.
Or just give your commentary. That's fine.
I don't remember the chat to every. I try to just focus on getting the fuck off the plane. I want to make sure that I am not any of these people on the list.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the correct way to fly, especially disembarking. All right. Next is, I don't know what I'll call the guy. Just or gal. By the way, this could be man or woman. All of these. Just the chatty passenger. Like you sit down. Hey, where are you from? The second I hear that, I'm like, this whole flight is gonna fucking suck now. Because I don't have to engage with this person, and I immediately try to disengage. But if I sit down, the person texts me, yeah. So by the way, I've gotten this before. Where are you going? Hopefully the same fucking place you are, buddy. I don't know. I know it might not be your final destination, but why are you asking me that question?
The plane's only going one place.
Yeah. Check your ticket. That's where I'm going. Aren't you going to that same direction at least? But it's rare nowadays because so many people have their earbuds in or whatever. But you still encounter people that just want to chat you up. And it's either because potentially they're nervous, maybe they're not a frequent flyer, but a lot of times it's the overconfident chatty person who is a frequent
some
flyer.
People like to talk.
Yeah. I think that's absolutely what it is. And it drives me crazy.
They're like, hey, this is a person I've never met before. Maybe they got an interesting story that I can. Maybe it's John Brennan from the real world. You never know who you're going to sit next to. Maybe it's a fun dentist from Albuquerque that I can learn.
No such thing. From. Fair enough. Yeah, tooth shit.
I don't know. The fuck does dentists talk about? Shit. If you're talking to whatever rando is sitting next to you on the plane and you're excited about it, you might want to learn about tooth shit.
Yeah, that's true. I guess that's a fair point. But now, to be fair, I used to travel a lot more than I do now for my job, and so I've experienced this. I've had full flights, 90 minutes plus, where the person never stopped talking to me, and maybe once it was somewhat interesting, maybe.
Yeah.
But it just here's the other thing too. So it's normally a situation you almost never learn the person's name, but you know everything about their medical issues and their family issues and who died recently.
So
it's a very interesting thing.
To add on to this, when I was flying to London on my European Odyssey, I was sitting in an exit row, and beside me were two, I would say, youngish women. They were probably like late 20s, early 30s, maybe. I think they were both single. And they were like, yes, no, I don't even know what you were saying about. Anyway,
just say no.
They were like chatting to each other, and they're like became good friends. Like they exchanged like phone numbers.
So they weren't traveling together.
No. They were separate, but they decided that they were going to be buds. And like they were towards the end of the flight, they're like, oh, I really had a great time. What's your name? I was like, that's fucking weird when you've been talking to somebody for like 4 hours and you're like, oh yeah, what is your actual name? We've just been chit chatting. And they exchanged digits, and like, I think I was forced to check my bag because it was whatever too big. They thought it wasn't.
Yeah,
they said it was. And they were standing next to each other in the luggage retrieval.
Baggage claim.
Yeah.
Luggage retrieval.
Was
in Britain. What they call it in London time? Yeah. Luggage retrieval.
Floating baggage.
In the loop.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. I was like, wow, these people like made a true friendship on a flight.
Yeah. It wasn't enough. The 5-hour chat. We have to stand and wait for our bags together. Maybe they shared an Uber. What they call taxis?
No,
an Uber.
Oh, I don't know.
I thought they had a name. A Jolly Rogering. Wait, no, that's not right.
I think they just call them taxis.
Okay, fair enough.
That's some other name.
They probably do. But I will say that the whole not knowing the person's name, it's very relatable to me because I will play poker at the same table for 10 hours, sit next to a guy and never get his name. And we're talking, perhaps, again, maybe not the whole time, but we're talking a lot of the time, making jokes.
Well, that happens to me
stories,
at like
whatever.
Parties and stuff. You like meet somebody, they introduce themselves in the beginning, and you're like, "Oh, nice to meet you," and then I immediately forget their name.
Hang on.
And then you talk to them for like,
that's different
for like 2 or 3 hours, and then you're like,
never pay attention to people. That's very different. So you're saying later you'd like to remember their name, but you can't.
Yeah, well, I mean, say this is a person that I haven't met before. They say, "Hi, my name's John." I'm like, "Oh, nice to meet you." We start chatting. We talk for maybe over the course of 45 minutes to 2 hours or something at this party. And then afterwards, like, it's like, "Oh, it was really nice chatting with you." I've only met they've only said their name to me once. We've talked about, I know what their kids' names are and maybe where they work or like where they went to vacation, but I
Their
can't remember
medical
every
issues.
fucking little detail, like their name. I'm not one of those people that does the little mnemonic either, like, oh, John has jiggly arms or whatever, something to like remember their names.
Well, that's why you forgot his name. You're focused on his jiggly
in this case,
arms.
John weighs
700 pounds.
He's got jiggly arms.
It's not just his arms that are jiggly. He's weighing six C notes there.
John drinks
John's
a lot of
jiggly all
Jamba
over.
Juice.
John Jacob Jingleheimer Jiggly. Hey, I like Jamba Juice.
All right,
but no,
do
anyway,
you have jiggly arms? Maybe your name should be John.
No, it's not. But to circle back to it,
got secret Jamba Juice drink is strawberries.
Strawberries Wild. That's my go-to at Jamba Juice.
Oh, is it really?
It is.
Trying to think of something with the same first letter.
Your
name will either be Scott or Sam or Steven.
Scott Strawberries Wild Jiggly Arms. But no, the thing that I do hate about it is that, particularly again going back to the talkative person on the flight, is if they're talking to you before takeoff, which is typically how it starts, then there's always that, like, during takeoff, you kind of your arms get thrown back, you lose your headphones, but you stop talking. So there's that moment of like, are we done talking? Or when we reach 10,000 feet, is this motherfucker going to start talking to me again? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hate that. I hate the unknown. Like, I try to avoid it. Be like, yeah.
That's the unknown that you hate. Some fucker talks to you after.
Yes.
Pretend to fall asleep. They won't talk to you.
I don't need to pretend. That's what I do on flights. I sleep. I try to be asleep before takeoff. I'm usually pretty good at doing that.
Same.
But if somebody's talking to me, it's hard to do. Anyway, all right. So that's Chatty Charles, we'll call him. Since you're into alliteration for some reason this evening.
Chatty Charles. He was chubby.
Chatty Charles.
Cheeks.
Chatty
Everyone's
chubby
fat
Charles.
in my naming scenarios.
Okay, I'm gonna bounce around on my list here. I only had five that I listed. One you kind of mentioned, which is you hear the boom for the seatbelt removal once you've landed.
Yeah,
or once
you
you hit the gate,
and people just jumping
and
out.
somebody in row 40 jumps out and sprints up about 5 rows and then stops. And now they're standing there. It's like, even if you had somehow made it all the way to the front, you still have to wait. I don't understand the rush.
So on one of my flights, I backed my caboose into the aisle so the person couldn't get any farther than the 3 rows they had made it up. I was like, fuck you.
So you were that guy.
Yeah, I'm like, you're not going anywhere, dude. None of us are. The fucking door is still closed on the plane.
Oh my god!
Even if you have another connection flight or something, like chill the fuck out. It's not going to make any difference. You're maybe going to make up 30 seconds.
Yeah, I hate those people. It's people just don't get it. They don't understand how the process works. That has to be what that is. They don't get it.
Geniuses like us.
Similar to that tactic or that type person is, and this is very general, but it shows itself in a variety of ways. People who just don't understand how to deboard. The guy that the hello guy, thanks to everybody guy, did this with the jacket move. Once you were in the aisle, get the fuck off the plane. Don't get in the aisle and then get comfortable. Don't get in the aisle and then open the overhead. Bitch, have an eye on where your bag is. Be ready. If it's behind you, you got to wait. If it's 2 rows behind, don't say, hey, can you reach for that? No, I can't.
Well, no, if there are people in front of you, that's when you wait. Because usually there's like a row or 2 before you get out. That's when you're like, hey, can you grab that bag for me? Because I'm up. I'm on deck. You know what I mean? Like there's 6 people in front of you to get off.
Before it's your turn, sure.
Yeah,
but if you're now up and you're in the middle and you're in the aisle,
typically I'll drop my if I'm in row 25, I'll drop my bag off at like row 15 just so I know that I have a spot, because I typically are in the middle to later groups. I anything that's available before my seat, I'll just grab it.
That's how.
But yeah,
have you learned nothing from my experience 2 summers ago when old Cunty McGee took my bag, and it was only 3 rows in front of me. I didn't do it the extreme that you're talking about.
One of one of our suitcases is bright orange, so it's pretty hard to mistake for
Oh,
someone
mine
else's.
mine is actively
Yours is
shooting
missing.
fireworks at all times. Well, that one is missing, but my new one is very bright. Could not be mistaken. The old one was silver, which second only to black is a very popular color. And that's why old Cunty McGee took it and threw it out of the fucking side of her car somewhere in Atlanta, probably.
Got a lot of coffee.
If I ever, clearly, good thing your button's
I don't know
working.
why. Yeah.
Even though you weren't using it for the first 3 cups. Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to get it all the time. But
I know. It's a struggle.
yes, I agree. You should be ready to go by the time it's your turn. So where
100%.
are you on this? Are you fully let the people in the row before you go out, or are you like, if they're goofing around, just blast by them?
If there's any stall, I'm gone. I'm out of there because I'm ready to go. Like 5 rows ahead, I'm already queued up. I got my backpack or my computer bag like already over my shoulder. I'm standing up. I'm grabbing my thing. I know exactly where it is, and I'm gone. I'm out of there.
So do you roll
Yeah.
it as you go down the aisle, or do you just carry it
Fuck
until you
no.
get to the jetway?
No, that's another one, by the way. Don't do the click, 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 click to like bring it up and then roll it, because 100 times out of 100, it's gonna be hitting seats and bouncing around like a fucking pinball. Hey, moron, do that once in your life and then be like, maybe I can just carry this out. Maybe that makes more sense. I'm fucking carrying shit. I'm moving it. I don't
Now,
even
I
do
gotta
it
say, I mean, this is caused mostly by the airlines by charging people to check bags. Nobody checks
Okay.
bags anymore, right? Nobody wants to check bags.
True.
Even if, I mean, honestly, even if you're flying on Southwest, you don't want to check bags just because it's inconvenient to wait for your bag. You're just like, fuck it, I want to have
Correct.
my stuff and get the fuck off the plane.
Right. That doesn't excuse not understanding the behavior
Yeah, no, I agree.
of how to get off the plane.
Carry the bag. If you're 100% confident you can get it straight down the aisle, you're probably wrong. But as long as you're not slowing me down, I don't care.
Oh, you're wrong. And you will be slowing me down.
What are you in such a hurry for?
Because I just want to get where I'm going.
Just value
If it's
your
that I'm
time.
back home, I value my time. I don't want to hang out an extra 30 seconds in the jet bridge because you're 3 abreast walking at fucking, Social Security office pace. Get the fuck out of the way, single file the bitch, and move. And no, I'm not just talking about old people, but old people need to hear that too. Stay to the right. We're in America.
Yeah.
Most of the time that in fact, all the time that I travel.
Yeah. In Japan or England, you can walk on the other side of the street. Although I don't think they do that in England. They definitely do in Japan.
Whatever it is, in the jet bridge, I know sometimes they're steep. There's all these like levels. I get it. If you're an elderly person, got an injury, fine. Just get the fuck out of my way. Leave me enough space so I can pass you on the left, and I'll be completely fine with
around
whatever
and see if
pace you're
there's
going.
some jackass that's like running down the aisle and stay clear.
Yes, correct.
That's their job to make sure that they're clear of you.
It is. It's a courtesy to a common man, to the fellow citizen.
Are you the common man in the scenario?
Yes, of course I am.
Okay. All right, who's next?
I'm a frequent flyer, and I got shit to do and places to go. All right. And then the last one is kind of the opposite of what we've just been describing, if I can be perfectly honest with you, but like a little overconfident. And that's the business flyer pro. They're always in the first, like they're always section 1 or, what do they do in United? They have classes or something.
They have boarding groups 1 through 5, but they do have like their Premier Plus,
Premier
Super Pro,
access,
whatever.
Preferred. Go fuck your mother. We know this is all paid for by your company. This isn't because, and by the way, a lot of times they do break some of those rules that I was just talking about, because I do this all the time. I fly every Monday through Friday. Fantastic for you. You got to follow the same rules as fucking Granny in 42A. Okay? You got to get out of my way.
What planes are you flying on that have 40 rows? Typically they end around 39.
That would be a large one, but I'm just saying, whether you're in 1B or 42A, everybody's got the same rules. I don't care if you're literally in first class.
Nah, if you're in
or
first class, you can do whatever the fuck you want because like no one
No,
in the
you
back can
can't.
even see you. You won't even know. They could do that shit. You'll have no idea.
Because of the curtain. But yeah, those people just drive me nuts. Like, they walk up all kind of, yeah, I'm a premier member. All right, go ahead. Board the plane first. Sit there longer than I have to sit there.
So
No
I
one
know
cares.
you fly Southwest a lot, but assuming you fly
Almost all.
things with boarding groups, what are your
Yes.
feelings about if I'm in
stupid.
boarding group 3, just sort of lingering around the lineup, knowing they're gonna call my it's so funny, like so I'll stand like sort of in front of somebody who's already standing there, and then somebody else will come and sort of stand in front of me. There's the classic they're like, if I'm in boarding group 4, say, and that you can see kind of where the last 3 is, just hop in line and assume they're going to call 4 by the time you get to the front. I've not really done that before, but I've really
I've done
wanted
that
to.
so many times. I used to do that all the time. I love that move.
So I think on my flight, I think back from California, a fucker did this. I think he was in like 5, and he's like, they're not going to kick me out of line. He got in at like 3, went up there. They sent him back. He got out. They made him go back out of line and wait. I was like, "Oh, flight attendant, you are my hero. You sent this fucker who was trying to skip the line." Yeah, you got to. It's got to be close.
You have to gauge. No, but you have to gauge the gate agent. You can tell who's going to care and who's not going to give a fuck and not even look at it.
I think this guy was like maybe section 4 or 5 and was trying to get on in 2. You got to like. It's got to be.
That's ballsy.
It's got to be 1 above because I was a 4, I think, and he wasn't even in line when I got in line, or maybe I was a 3, but he was definitely behind me because he wasn't even getting. He's like, I've been burned once. I'm not gonna try this again. But that walk of shame out of line to go back to where everyone else. I was amazing. Just like, chef's kiss on this one.
Did the gate agent double down by getting on the mic and being like, as a reminder, we're currently boarding zones 1 and 2. That would be it. That'd be the.
I mean, he may have. I didn't hear it because he wasn't speaking directly to me. If he did say that,
you were too busy laughing. Yeah, no, I get that. But no, I will absolutely. I was
cackling maniacally at the dumbass who tried to get on before his turn.
I will stand right there. I'm not in anyone's way because I'm considerate for the common man and the other passenger, and I myself am the common man. But I don't care if they're boarding 1 and I'm at 5. I'm right there. I am ready to go. The second they call my zone. If I'm not the first or second person boarding in any given zone, I've made an error. I either I waited to piss too late, or something happened. Something is awry for me to not be the first or second person boarding within my zone. 100%. I'm always first. Yeah.
So
I mean, you gotta be.
I mean, there's a couple things we haven't talked about.
Yeah.
Flying types. So this happened to me on my flight back. I got on the plane and I was in the aisle seat. There was a dude sitting against the window who was asleep or asleep-ish, like when I boarded, and a woman in the middle seat. And towards the end of the people boarding, somebody comes up and he's like, "This is my seat," to the woman next to me. And she's like, "What?" And the flight attendant's like, "Ma'am, are you in the right seat?" She's like, "Actually, this guy's in my seat. The guy next to her who's sleeping." And so the flight attendant's like, "Sir," says "sir" a couple times, no response. Taps him on the shoulder. Guy pretends like he doesn't feel it. Sir. He's like, eventually he rouses the gentleman who was high as fuck because he smelled like a goddamn marijuana plant. He's like, "Sir, are you in the right seat?" And he's like, "I'm 15F and this is 14F." And he asked the woman who was 14F, "Do you want to sit in the window seat?" And she's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, can you go to the row behind?" So she gets out and goes behind, essentially swap seats with the guy. So then the guy next to me sits down, also
in the middle.
Had been working on a marijuana farm. So I'm on just like weed row with these 2 knuckleheads. Oh God, it was quite fragrant on my flight.
Which flight was this? Was this Santa Barbara or was this LAX?
This was LAX to Baltimore.
To Baltimore? Oh, that sucks.
Like red eye.
Oh man, that's a long one.
Yeah, it was like
Now,
4 or 5 hours.
we should have talked basics before we went into this conversation, but are you always an aisle guy?
Yeah, I'm an
Especially in a
aisle
red
guy.
eye. On a red eye, it'd have to be window. Because it's hard
Window
to sleep
I
in the
like,
aisle.
but the problem is if I have to piss, I don't want to have to make everybody move. So I like being on the aisle so I can go to
Especially
the
on a red
bathroom.
eye. That's fair. But sleep is more important to me. I don't care rousing people,
So on the
to use
way
your term.
way out there, I was in a window seat, sitting next to a mother with infant in arms or whatever, a child
Oh
under 2,
God.
which I
The
was
worst.
like, ooh. But that kid was fucking amazing. She like was a little whiny on takeoff, but other than that, she was great. It's like, this is the best person I've flown next to the whole time.
That was to Denver, the first leg?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. Okay.
But like that one, I kind of had to pee, but I'm like, I'm not getting up because there's like, I was in the aisle seat. There's a woman with a baby in the middle, and then somebody else. So I was like, I'm not getting all these dummies up just so I can.
You were in the window seat. Yeah, you had to move 3 people just to get up. Yeah, that'd be rough. That's interesting. I used to be an aisle guy, but 2 things. First of all, I can keep my bag like on the side of the plane as opposed to underneath the seat in front of me when I'm in the window because I kind of shield it with my legs. I become a stone cold pro at that. So once we kind of, we're moving, we're taxiing for takeoff, I stick my legs out and there's no impediment there.
Oh, nice. That's
So
nice
one
feature.
advantage. Yeah, that's one advantage to the window you cannot do in the aisle. And then again, anytime anyone passes me and I'm on the aisle and I'm trying to sleep, it wakes me up.
Yeah, you do
So I
get
can't do
clipped
it.
by the cart and just dummies walking through.
But I've gotten so good on Southwest that I know which seats have the good part of the window to lean up against, as opposed to like.
Wait, what's the good part? Is it
window
the window itself?
It's the part
or
in between. No, the part in
Okay.
between.
But that's
want that
less
solid-
lean.
I don't need more lean. That's plenty of lean. Trust me.
You
On
just need
Southwest,
the
it's plenty of
support.
lean. I just need the neck support. Yeah, or the head support, I guess. So I need neck support, but I don't have it because I don't have one of those pillows because I'm not that guy. But yeah, so it's all window for me.
Yeah, you don't
The
need a
pee
neck
thing-
pillow unless you're flying over like 8 hours.
Yeah.
If
And
you're
look, I
flying
mean,
a 3-hour flight, you don't need a neck pillow. Just suck it up.
aside from back in October, I flew Denver to Tampa. That was pretty long. But aside from a flight like that,
It's brutal.
2.5 hours or less, I can hold it. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. No, the peeing definitely.
not.
It's
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, we were talking about pillows.
What else
before
am I
that.
holding?
We went from
Oh,
pillows
okay.
to
Yeah,
pissing.
Gotcha.
But
I've been
yes, most of the time I can too. But I oftentimes mistime it where I've had a beverage at the Hudson's or whatever, and then
Hudson News. Yeah.
didn't evacuate my bladder before I get on the plane. And then I'm like 3 hours in on a 5-hour flight. I'm like, God damn it.
See again, you're too much of an amateur here. If you're gonna pound the DMD, again, I'm using Southwest as the example. Let's say I'm B15. As soon as they call A to line up, I'm hitting the head. Because 4 minutes later, B15 is going to be walking through that door and going down the jet bridge. So
Yeah, but even
I
then,
gotta have enough time.
you're not getting all the liquid out. It's too quick.
I know, and you crack the seal. You're not wrong.
Cracking the
And
seal
a lot
is
of times I'll do
worse
that, and before
sometimes.
takeoff, I'm like, oh shit, I can feel it again. And it's the worst feeling when you just that little twinge, like, oh no. But if you can successfully fall asleep, then whenever you wake up,
You just wet your
hopefully
pants.
there's like 30 minutes left, and you're like, all right, it's a little worse, but it's not that bad. I can hold it for the next 30 minutes.
And then
If
we
that's
haven't.
what it is.
Did we talk about this last time? We haven't talked about the people who don't know how to put bags into the overhead compartments.
Did we talk about this last time? Because I know I texted you.
We
when I was-
texted about it, but I don't know if we
Okay,
talked about it.
maybe
on
we
the
didn't talk
pod.
about it on the pod. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, just you get 2 bags. Put your fucking personal bag under your seat.
Underneath the seat in front of you, of course.
I know half of you morons have some weird duffel bag that's kind of sort of maybe you could cram under the seat, but you'd rather put it into the overhead bin along with your jacket and your shopping
Todd,
bag that has Toblerone or whatever the fuck else you bought in the airport.
Or you're flying from Denver to Houston, and apparently you're also trekking Europe and you have the gigantic backpack with a fucking tent and a sleeping bag on it. That's the other thing that I fucking hate. But
I think on my flight to Europe, or maybe it was California, a guy had like one of those massive backpacks and he was holding a full-size duffel bag. And I was like, first of all, flight attendants, come on. If the guy has 2 huge bags, make him check one of those fucking things.
Police it. Come on.
This guy had it was like an 8-year-old could have fit into his backpack. Like it was huge.
And he did. Yeah.
And then the other bag was clearly like a full, like it wasn't a rollerboard, but it was another big ass bag. And I was like, neither one of those is going to fit into the seat.
Was the duffel bag like so full that it was pulling at the seams of the zipper? Was it one of those deals, or was
pretty
there
much.
Give?
I mean, it was not. It wasn't like slouchy.
It was fully packed. Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah. See, neither one of those can fit in front of you, in the seat in front of you. So you have to put one up top.
On one of those flights, this guy. I mean, all the bins were full, but he just looked like a snotty piece of shit, and he had like his briefcase above and like a newspaper that he put in there. He stands up, takes off his blazer, folds it in half, and then tucks it into the overhead.
Gently lays it in the overhead.
I was like, you son of a bitch, man. That shit does not go up there. Put it on your lap. You don't get to put your blazer in the overhead bin. I'm sorry.
Here's what you do, though. Here's your vengeance. If you ever see that while you're still boarding, because like you said, you'll put your bag wherever there's availability.
Yeah. I would definitely
cram your
scrunch it
bag
to the side or on
top of it, on top of the jacket. Be like, if you're going to take the time to lay it out, I'm going to take the time to ensure that this bag fits on top of your fucking
Have you
jacket.
seen the people, though, if you do that, they're like, sir, were you touching my bag? I was on a flight, one of those flights, someone said, someone touched my bag. And the flight attendant's like, oh, yeah, they're not supposed to touch your property. But they had
move it out of the way.
They had just moved it over so they could put their bag in. I'm like, first of all, you had like a loose duffel bag or some bullshit, like a shopping bag. Like, you have no expectation of no one touching it. If you put one of those under the seat bags or a jacket or a blanket up there, your shit's getting squished. I'm sorry. That's just what's happening.
I've had people, not flight attendants, I've had other passengers pull a bag out and say, whose bag is this? With the intention to try to get them to put it underneath the seat in front of them so that they can put their bag up top. Like, just pure balls, like all testicles that you would even consider asking that.
Did the owner acknowledge it, or were they like, put my fucking bag back, you asshole?
No, invariably it's always just like no one says anything. Because if no one says anything, what's he gonna do? He's got to put it back up there. He can't just leave it in the aisle. I mean, he could. That'd be even ballsier. But
this shit is not sitting up here and putting my bag up here. I don't give a fuck.
But yeah, I mean, again, to be fair, it was like a duffel bag and the person had a roller bag. But it's also like, well, fucking get on earlier or find another spot. Like, it's not my problem. This isn't shared problems. Just because we're all going to the same place doesn't mean it's like a community.
I'm headed
exactly.
to my bag where it was.
Where are you going?
Sit the fuck
down. Look at your phone. What does it say right above that barcode? That's the city I'm going to. Same as you. Yeah, that bag, man. The bag etiquette needs some help. A lot of people need some instruction.
I don't understand how people don't understand. I get that you don't want to put the bag under your feet, but bring less shit, or
I clearly don't either.
Check it.
Yeah, prepare for that by either checking it or have a bag small enough that you can put underneath there and still fit your feet around it. I assume you do that, or do you just sit there like a school child?
What do you mean?
Like the full burp, 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 like your legs do the full 90 degrees. No, you kick your feet out, I assume, right? At least 45 degrees.
Oh, I mean, I put my backpack underneath. I try to straddle it. It doesn't always work.
Yeah. Like you try to turn on the side, put both feet to one side, or put one foot on each side. It's a whole system.
Is there a seat that's more uncomfortable than an airplane seat after you've been sitting in it for a couple hours? Like, it just it just hits your ass in the wrong way. You're like, and then you can't get comfortable. It's impossible to you lean forward, you lean back. You're like, I gotta find a soft spot.
Oh yeah.
This cardboard
There's no good
shit
spot.
And nothing.
For sure. But the answer to your question is yes. Many years ago, 15 years ago, went to a game at Fenway Park, and the seats are about as wide as your cell phone. and you're sitting there for a few hours, and it was fucking miserable. I mean, it was a cool experience to go to Fenway, but that's about as much as I'll say. And most ballparks, unless you're in a very exclusive section, like up near the court or the field.
Sorry, I know there are
seats
less
suck.
comfortable seats. Any bleacher is also
Okay.
not comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
God.
like, airplane seats suck ass after a few hours.
Yeah, for something that's supposed to be built for some level of comfort, they did not do a good job of doing that.
They missed the boat.
That's for sure. And then nowadays, again, 20, 25 years ago, I feel like the recline, you could actually recline, I don't know, 15, 20 degrees. Now it's like 2.5. The recline
I don't
is like
even
an
bother
inch and a
trying to
quarter.
recline anymore.
I normally don't either. What's the point? Like it's laughable.
You're just
how much
pissing the
recline you
person off
actually get.
behind you.
And that I do feel some level of
When I flew
guilt.
out with the woman next to me, luckily there was no one sitting in the middle seat in front of her because she was in the middle seat with the baby. But she was like a bigger person, not like fat, but just a bigger human being. And I was like, if someone in the middle,
she was
like,
a human being, Todd. Thanks
no,
for the update.
she wasn't like a small woman. She
I
was
understand.
a bigger woman.
Yeah,
like maybe 5'8"
She was
or something.
girthy.
Anyway,
okay, gotcha.
But she had her kid on her lap, and her kid was like pushing 2, like right under the limit of size you can take.
1 year and 11 months.
I mean,
Yeah,
I think she said she was 16 months, but she was a big kid too. And I was like, if the person
Like
in
her
front puts the seat back, this whole
the kid's
fucking
gonna
thing
be
is
like
gonna,
this.
the kid was already like basically face to face with her mom. I was like, they're gonna be just like,
this whole ecosystem collapses.
I was like, I hope no one sits there and tries to put their seat back because like that kid's gonna freak the fuck out, and I'm gonna be the victim in this scenario. Other than the child,
Baltimore other than the obvious victims, not you.
Yeah.
Conceited prick. But yeah, Baltimore to Denver. That's every bit of 3.5, 4 hours.
Yeah,
that'd be a long
like I
flight
said,
if you had no wiggle room.
Kid was delightful. She was quite a charming little girl.
Did you interact with the child?
I did. It's weird because like having had children that age, I was kind of like not playing with her, but like not like peekaboo, but like pointing at her and like, you know, being like ha 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 and stuff. But it feels weird because I'm clearly a stranger. I like little kids. Like I wanted to interact with her more, but I was like, I don't want to be just some creepy dude sitting next to her, like where the mom's like, can I move, please?
What's your favorite cartoon? Get out of here.
I mean, she was pre-verbal, she wasn't saying full sentences or really words.
She had a limited lexicon. I understand.
Yeah, exactly. You're in that phase.
I was about to say, I'm right there. We got syllables. That's about as far as we've come. I was going to ask something about the kid.
She was watching like an iPad though for part of it, but
that's
again,
helpful.
A little not enough attention span to like. She just was like touching a little bit and moving some things around. Her mom had some videos, but she did have headphones. She watched like a cartoon or two, but she was mostly fine just to like sit there.
Yeah, the last time that happened, similar situation. I was flying from Miami back to Denver on Frontier. Talk about very uncomfortable seats.
You got to pay for your carry-on on that one, though.
You have to pay for everything. I was in the window. There was a guy who had his daughter with him in the lap. She was probably not even a year old, very young. And I'd say 2 hours into the flight, the dad was like nodding off, and the kid's still like, wide awake. For those of you on video, you saw what I did there. And, at some point the kid had a snack, which is perfectly reasonable. And then the snack came back.
Oh.
Through the same channel from which it had been put down. There was a bit, it wasn't a full throw up, but it was a spit up. I would call it spit up. Ooh. And it did not shoot directly forward. It shot towards the window seat. And so it got on. I had this bag. I bought Jamie a sweatshirt at the Miami airport, and
transferred into a vomit rag.
Threw up on the sweatshirt. I was very fucking annoyed by the whole thing. But the father was asleep. Like he never saw it happen. So I'm like, what do I do here? Because the kid just had spit up on his or her, I don't remember, chest area.
Yeah.
Some had transferred into my bag. So otherwise it was fine. But like, I'm not going to wake him up and be like,
face or anything. Hey, your kid just
hey, you owe me
vomited on me.
$40. Yeah. I don't know. It's just,
So wait, did you give that
unfortunate.
sweatshirt to your wife, or?
Yeah, I told her what happened and like hide it.
Did you wash it before you gave it to her?
Yes, of course she washed it before. No, I washed it before I gave it to her.
That's not what I say. Did you wash it before you gave it to her?
No.
Just came with a story and a little souvenir of the flight.
Yeah. And then 5 years later, she decided she wanted to have a kid of her own. I don't know why.
Okay. So
that was my deterrent.
When I flew next to that woman, the woman in the aisle, she's like, I hope she wasn't too much trouble. And I was like, that lady didn't interact with the fucking kid at all. You didn't say shit to me.
She didn't say anything to you?
Nothing to me.
She definitely thought you were a kid toucher.
I mean, I was ready to be like, oh no, your kid was great, but she didn't even say anything to me. I was like, fuck you. I was like engaged in trying to talk to the kid. This lady was like, yeah, I don't have kids and I don't normally like them, but she was fine. I was like, bitch.
That's the best she could say? That's rude.
Yeah. I was like, this kid is like,
rude.
This was the best you're going to get on a flight.
Now, have you ever seen, I've seen this before, where, again, same situation you're describing, but in the case that I remember, there was an older black woman in the window, a young mother with a young kid in the middle seat, and I don't know who was on the aisle, it doesn't matter. Maybe it was me. I don't think it was me, but I was close enough to hear this whole interchange. They did a lot of talking, learned the names early on, so broke all the rules.
Oh boy.
Sometime during the flight, the lady needed to get up to use the restroom.
Window lady?
The older the mother. The older black woman said, I'll watch you, child. She just gave her the kid, went to the bathroom for a few minutes, and came back. Now, the age and race of the people has nothing to do with it. Would you give your child to someone you'd literally met 2 hours before and just go take a piss for 5 minutes? Or
Probably
take a shit
not,
or whatever she had to do?
But, I mean, sometimes at that point, if you have a young kid, you're like, fuck it, I'm tired. Like, how much damage can they do in 5 minutes?
A lot. What are you talking about? They can do anything.
I mean, I guess my assumption is that most people are not there to harm a child. If it were a man, definitely not. A woman, I would be more confident in it.
See, here's the other thing that I remember thinking then, I definitely would think it now, having my own child, is I'd be terrified that I get 5 rows back and hear my kid screaming. And then, like, do you turn around and go back and help? Or do you like, no, I guess
you keep going. Once you've
just
abandoned
powering
them,
through. I'll deal with it when I get back. Let's see how good of a mother.
I'm not sure I would fly with my young child by myself. That's a ballsy move.
Yeah, but a lot of people do it.
That situation. I know a lot of people. I'm saying
that's all they can do. Well, you're blessed.
I had the choice.
Hashtag blessed. That you don't have to do that. You have the option.
I don't have any young children anymore, so.
Also that.
I mean, they're young, but not that young. Not infant
the question
on
is,
lap situation.
Are you worried about, I know you guys do mostly driving, but whenever you fly anywhere, are you worried about them making more of a scene now or 6 or 7 years ago or 9 or 10 years ago?
Oh, when they were, well, not so much making a scene, but like we definitely had some issues. My elder daughter had a blowout shit on me basically on the plane as I was walking back
was
to
recently,
change her
or
in the
this was
laboratory.
10 years ago?
No, this was 10 years ago.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, we haven't flown in a while because mostly COVID, but I mean, we're planning a longer trip this summer. I'm not worried about them. I assume they'll just have like phone or tablet and be
occupied
on that.
I guess the last time you flew was out here.
Yeah, I think so.
Fall of 19?
No, we flew to Disney World.
Oh, that's right.
Post your wedding.
Yeah.
Right before COVID.
Right before COVID. Yeah.
February 2020.
I remember that.
Both my kids got sick. Not COVID sick. They had like a stomach bug.
I got COVID sick. The show.
Yes, you said that. No one believes you.
Many times. It's true. 100% COVID. No doubt about it. Todd.
So have you had a confirmed case of COVID other than the one where you think you had it?
Yes, I've had it twice. The second was confirmed by a free test care of our government. And that was last summer. I went to Las Vegas for work. I was there for 4 or 5 days. The last day I was there, I could not do anything. And anyone that knows me knows if I'm in Vegas and I'm just staying in a hotel room, I must be very, very sick. Because I would typically, aside from sleeping 3 to 4 hours a night, would be out on the strip doing some form of gambling. So the fact that I was just sitting in my hotel room was all the indicator that was needed. So when I got home, I took the test and it was positive.
Did you transfer it to the rest of your family?
No, I slept on the couch for 4 or 5 days. It was kind of fun, actually. That part of it, I didn't mind.
Was it 4 or 5 days before you felt like you were back to normal?
No, I felt fine a day or two after I got home, but I was still I was testing myself every day, and I was still popping positive tests. So it wasn't until day 4 or 5 that I was.
That's a good episode title, Popping Positive.
Popping Positive?
Yeah.
All right. I'll write that down. Type it in. But anyway, what I was going to say is I feel like we can't close out the show without mentioning this Sunday. I believe it's Sunday. Sunday the 26th? Yeah, Sunday the 26th is season 4, final season of Succession on HBO. I watched the preview. I'm super hyped. I tried to get Jamie to watch all 3 seasons before Sunday.
Didn't happen.
Didn't work.
Did you make it through the first season?
No, we didn't start it.
Oh, you got to get to episode 4 of the first season, I think, before you're like, yes.
What happened in episode 4?
I don't know. It's just like the first 3 episodes. I remember watching. I was like, I don't know. This show's like, it's okay because you don't know any of the characters, so you have no connection to them. They're all assholes.
As with any show, yeah, they're all pricks, of course.
Well, that's in their own way. Show. Usually, there's someone you can root for, but you're like, all these people are terrible.
No, the not knowing them is true in every show. You gotta learn the characters in every show.
But yeah, I feel like around episode 4, like it sort of clicks. Like, oh yeah, I get it. This shows. I like what's happening here. I did watch the entire last season of Barry on my travels to and from California because it's a real easy show to rip through. Although I think one of them wasn't working.
8-10 episodes?
I think it was only 8.
Yeah.
They're 30 to 45 minutes long. So
that's the brilliance of HBO shows. Or HBO series, I should say. They're typically not that long.
I have not rewatched
Succession season 3.
At least watch the last episode of last season.
Yeah, I was about to say the last, because like in the 2-minute trailer I saw.
I don't remember anything that happened. I mean, I do,
but in the 2-minute trailer, it clearly like picks up right where it left off. So I agree. I need to watch that and kind of see where everyone is sitting, in their grab for power, of course, because that's what the show's all about. But yeah, very, very excited. You're on video. Don't do that. Very excited. Oh, okay. And yeah,
what did you think this was?
Could have been a lot of things. What's your other hand doing? I don't know. And for me, the show, honestly, I don't know if right away I loved it, but I just love the fucking theme song. Like a lot of times when you're watching those shows, you can skip the opening, you know? I never skip the opening of Succession. I love that theme song.
The piano.
I love just the way it's all these like made up old home videos where you can tell who the characters are, you know?
They're not made up. They're real videos, just not of.
They're real videos shot, but not of the actual people. You know what I meant? Yeah, I love that theme song. I don't know if there's an Emmy for that opening theme music, but if there was, Succession should.
I'm sure there must
at the very least be in the running.
I got Emmys.
I think there's like overall music or score, composition. I don't fucking know. The rest of the show is not driven by music at all.
Just the way they bring that theme in sometimes toward the end. And you're like, oh shit, it's going down.
I know. You're like, ooh, what's happening or what's about to happen?
Usually at the end of the episode, but
right. Still, or what am I going to have to wait till next week to find out this happening? Yeah. They do that quite frequently. So yeah, Sunday night. I don't know what time, but whatever. Who watches TV live anymore? It's probably pretty late. Yeah. Which is good news for me in Mountain Time because I can watch it before that late. So check it out.
At 8.
I know. If that time zones work. Pretty excited. Pretty excited. Also, speaking of that, they're definitely in production with Curbs next season.
Oh, it starts at 9 p.m. Sorry. So you can watch it at
Ooh. I'll watch it right after 60 Minutes.
Doesn't that come on at 6? Oh, yeah.
It does.
Right after, sorry.
Hence me. Man, Todd, you're just piecing all the puzzle pieces together tonight. I'm happy for you. You've had a quality show. I think putting you on film is putting the pressure on you. You're stepping up to the plate. You paid attention like 87% of the time, which is by far a record. Like not even close. So, okay. Anything else going on we need to talk about? You want to share with the people?
I don't think so. It says season 4 will have 10 episodes. I guess
I did know that. Yeah,
had 10.
this is
So
Succession.
9, 8 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Mountain, as we discussed.
Booyah! Studio A, baby.
Do you watch it on Max or do you have the full hobo?
I watch it on the app. Yes, HBO Max. Yes. I do not pay for. Why would I pay for HBO via my cable?
No.
It's like $15 a month, I think, on my cable package anyway.
I think that's how much HBO Max is.
I'm sure it is, but not for me, motherfucker. Anyway, so okay, let's check it out. Succession coming up
do you
this
have any
week.
plans for spring break this year or Easter? Are you celebrating Easter with your daughter?
Hadn't thought about that. Probably not, because she still doesn't know what anything is.
Probably not. You are definitely getting her. Not the Easter Bunny will be visiting your house. I guarantee it.
Okay. Possibly. I have nothing to do with that. If that's happening, that's all something my wife might be doing. I'm not dressing up. I'm not buying candy. I'm not buying a basket. She doesn't know what anything is. She can't eat any of the candy.
Matter.
Why would I go through the motions?
It's all for the photos.
It's for pictures. I know. I will not be doing that. If Jamie wants to do that, she's more than welcome. I'll snap the photos.
Shit, man.
I'm not a grumpy piece of shit. It's a waste of money.
What time? Wasting $20? Who gives a fuck? For a lifetime of memories for your child. 25.
Yeah, a lifetime of memories. For a lifetime. Anyway, if Jamie wants to do it, I'll take the pictures. As I said, I will not be participating. I don't even know when Easter is. When is it? Second Sunday?
April.
I think it is the second Sunday, the 9th or something.
It might be the 9th.
It's either 2nd or 9th. I think it's the 9th. Don't your
April
kids
9th.
have like 9 days
Sunday,
off around it?
April 9th.
Okay.
Yeah,
you get the 10th off for some stupid reason.
We get Easter Monday off.
When is you mentioned spring break? When are their spring breaks?
The week before Easter.
Are you doing anything for spring break?
We are heading to South Carolina to hang out at my in-laws' house.
Oh, so the usual.
Well, last year we went to New York.
Oh, that's right.
Since we're planning a more elaborate summer vacation.
Right.
I didn't want a lot of my kids' friends are like going to Disney or something. I was like, ugh, God.
Terrible time to do it.
I mean, it's not the worst. It's not as hot as it would be. Like
no, it's not August. I understand, but
it'll just
because of the crowds.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually spring break right now in the local school district. And I did not realize that, except I went
until the soccer ball was hitting the side of your house.
Funny, but no.
Local kid.
No, I haven't seen those kids in a while. But no, I went for a run Monday morning before my trip, and I immediately realized that the parking lot was empty at the school.
Yeah, because you live across the street from a school.
I do.
Is that an elementary school?
It's an elementary school.
I assume your daughter would go there.
She would definitely be zoned to go there. Yes, if we still live in this house. Yes.
Are you planning on moving before then?
I mean, we've talked about moving. We lived in this house almost 8 years. Feels like a long time. There's nothing wrong with it, but
Yeah.
I don't know. We've talked about moving other
how does the
places.
school ranked? Is it a highly ranked elementary school or just
I don't know. If I had to guess, I would say no, just based on the people that park in this cul-de-sac in order to pick up their kids every day.
Oh, really? That's
Um,
annoying.
It is annoying, but who cares? But I do know that our next door neighbor is a teacher at the school. So when we get closer to that time, I think we'll have some honest conversations with her. I don't think that her kids go there, so if that tells you anything. But it's possible. I mean, they've only lived here they've lived here a number of years, but
What's
it's
your
possible their
street
kids
number?
went somewhere else. What's my street number?
Yeah, what's the number of your address? You don't have to say anything else on the air, just the number.
11368. Why?
I'm curious. I want to look up the school.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't going to say the name of the school either. You know, the rabid fans are. They find out exactly where I live, especially now that I just said the number, like it's going to be trouble. Oh, you're going to look up the ranking of the school? Yeah, sure. I'll even wait for that if you think you can find it quickly, because I am curious. Is there like a national ranking board or something?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Forget what it's called though. There we go.
Well, that could be a problem.
Nope, not California.
Is it like a 0 to 5 scale? How does it work?
It is a 0 to 10 scale.
Okay.
It's not great. It gets a 4.
Like I said, it's a 4. Okay. That checks out. That makes
test
sense.
scores are below average, student progress
Love
is
it.
average, and equity is below average.
What is equity? Like
so
average
equity
income?
is basically like how well do they help either poorer students or students of color. Basically, like do they lift everybody up, or is it like just
and it's
white
below
kids
average,
doing well in school? It says below average. Equity can be a little tricky though, because sometimes it just depends on the makeup of the school.
Again, if we're doing, I'll put it this way: if I went there, I would be a minority. I promise you. So I don't know if that makes a difference.
It doesn't work that way.
Oh, okay. Well, again, I don't know how that's calculated, but it is mostly children of color in that school.
I mean, from
various
like
colors,
my
which
children's
I'm a fan
elementary school only gets a 6 out of 10, but test scores are an 8 out of 10. Academic progress is a 6, and then equity is a 4.
I see.
So this is how they rate it, and these rankings, like, they move around all the time. So like
Sure.
next month it could be a 7 or a 5.
Gotcha.
So it says underserved students at the school may be falling behind other students in the state, and the school may have significant achievement gaps. So either low income or like certain racial groups, sometimes like they're not doing a good job of making sure all the students succeed.
I understand.
Which is a complicated issue because there may be other things, like especially on the like kids that live in poverty, they may not have like a stable home life or housing.
It's
out
of the control of the school, is what you're saying.
Yeah, but it's like how good a job is this school doing to like help the kids that need more help? Right. Some schools do a great job, and some schools have fewer of those kids, and they do a great job, and some schools have fewer of those kids and do a shitty job.
Right.
Because they're not good at it, or they don't make it a priority. So that's just one of the things that they score.
That's still where she's going. Again, I like the fact that I like the fact that it's, from what I can tell, it seems to be very diverse. And I like that.
Yeah, my kid's school is actually pretty diverse too.
I feel like, I mean, I don't know what the makeup of Lonnie B was, but
we can look now.
It's 40 years later, but I'm just saying.
Oh, it's
for you at least.
It's Lonnie B. Nelson Child Development Center. Is it not even a school anymore? What the fuck?
#upgrade. No, it's got to still be a school. But I feel like I remember having many friends of a variety of races. It was probably still primarily white middle class school. That wouldn't shock me if that turned out to be the case. But
yeah, it's
it was
interesting. It's not an elementary school anymore.
Really?
It
What does that mean,
says-
learning center? Like, is it a STEM
it
school or
says
STEAM?
a pre-K and private. Interesting.
That's bizarre. That doesn't make any sense.
How does that happen? It goes from a public school to not.
They lost public funding and they went private, I guess.
But it's not even an elementary. I mean, it's a big building.
It's a giant building.
Our middle school.
EL wrong. Here we go.
Also does not have a grade. Oh, it's now a K through 8. Interesting. That says unclaimed. How the fuck is it? Apparently, South Carolina doesn't give a shit about this rating stuff because none of these schools are here.
It's all incorrect. All right, we can look at this later. Or you can share those details on a later episode. We can look at all of our schools from our youth. Okay. So we'll call it there. 90 minutes in. Todd's focused on this school thing. He's worried about the ranking of schools that we went to that his kids will never go to, so it doesn't matter anymore. Because we both turned out as geniuses, obviously. More or less. What?
Some of us more.
Yeah. Some of us more. Studio way. All right. So thanks for listening. You know what to do. Email the show, thebropodnetwork@gmail.com. Thebropodnetwork@gmail.com. Check out the video. Todd might have to do a little work here. Do a tad bit of editing on the front and back end. Create a YouTube page and upload this podcast. Oh, man. He's got to put in 30 minutes at some point this weekend. He might not get to it until May.
You have to send me the audio so I can put the intro music.
I will send you. I will send you all the
send me
all
the
the
whole
things.
podcast.
Okay, I can do that.
Audio.
And I'm taking tomorrow off just because I can. So my plan is to edit tomorrow, so I can get it to you tomorrow.
Oh, just gotcha.
From work. No. Yeah, no. Unfortunately, podcasting is not my full-time job. I wish I could just take a day off from podcasting.
Are you sure?
That'd be amazing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. You've seen the numbers on how much money this podcast is bringing in. Although you don't pay attention to just about anything, so maybe you haven't. Anyway, so yeah, thebropodnetwork@gmail.com. Hit us up on Instagram and Twitter, _bro_pod. Check us out on YouTube, starting with this episode. More details on what that URL is later, but hopefully you can just search The Bro Pod with Scott and Todd on YouTube and you'll be able to find this. Something like that. But we'll find out that later. Rate, review, subscribe, do all that good stuff to where utilizing whatever app you are to listen to this, and tell a friend. Help us grow the show and spread the word. So yeah, we thank you all for listening. Don't forget about Succession this Monday, and thanks again to our sponsor, Diet Mountain Dew.
On Sunday.
We thank you all. I said Sunday.
You said Monday.
Oh, okay. Sunday, please watch the season 4 first episode of Succession. We will be looking forward to it. We'll be talking about it next week, amongst other things. Who knows? We thank you always, as always, for listening. And until next week, everybody.
Peace.